friends. Okay, so I'm very excited because I just got all of my, well, not all of my, but actually, yeah, most of my research resources that I have um, gotten just to sort of get me going. So I've chosen the mystics and anchoresses that I'm going to at least initially start studying. So these may not end up being the particular women that I end up writing my play about, but I think that they are good bets of women that could be really compelling in the play. So I wanted to share a little bit about each one and why I chose them. Just thought that might be kind of interesting. Basically, when I was looking into mystics and the women who I was interested in researching and studying about and writing the play about potentially, I was really interested in coming sort of at it with kind of a range of different women. So one thing that I have discovered about a lot of the women who have been classified as mystics over the years is that a lot of them had, quite understandably, some really dramatic life circumstances that may have led to sort of their openness or their experiences of mysticism. And so a lot of them had experiences that were either just very intense or they were, they experienced great suffering. And so I wanted to look at, obviously those things are very dramatic and theatrical. So I wanted to come at it with an eye to what is going to be interesting for people to watch in a play, but also a little bit of diversity. So the first one that I want to talk about is Hildegard of Bingen. And this is a huge book, first of all, this is going to take me a while because she was very prolific. But she actually was, she was a nun and she was pretty well respected. So I'm interested in reading her writings because as opposed to some of the other women who are a little bit more on the fringe of society, she was just very well respected. She wrote a lot, obviously. I think it would be really interesting to have a woman who is kind of like a backbone of her community, and but at the same time was having these mystical experiences. So she's pretty interesting. I also have a book, which I'm fascinated and really excited about, on the Desert Mothers. So a lot of people know about the Desert Fathers, like Athanasius and these other men at the beginning of the church, really, in the second and third centuries, who wrote a lot, who did a lot of thinking, but there actually were desert mothers too. And some people, so I don't know, I need to kind of read through and see what it's like. I'm not sure everyone would classify them as mystics, but I think that their writings, could be a really good addition. I would love to put them in it, so I'm very hopeful that there's going to be some good stuff in here and some things that I can include. And then Julian of Norwich, I probably am not saying that right, but I actually read about her when I was in college, and she was an anchoress, which basically meant that she shut herself into a single room, four walls, for almost all of her life. So she had, I think she had some traumatic experiences in her life. I'm not 100% on that, so I need to actually read it and get back to you on that. But I really am intrigued by the idea of a woman who was not just a nun, but was one step further, was just completely cloistered from the world and then experienced these visions. And then I have Angela of Foligno, I don't know. And I was interested in her because she experienced a lot of trauma in her life. So her mother, her husband, and then all of her children passed away in a really short amount of time. And so I'm just interested in reading her writings and sort of thinking about how her experience kind of it developed into her visions. And then there's one more who I actually don't have a book of, but all of her writings are online, and that is Perpetua. and she was a martyr. So she was very early on. She was a martyr in the Roman Colosseum, and she was killed by lions. And actually, when I was in high school, I did a play where I starred as Perpetua. And I remember like loving her words, and so I want to go back and read. I'll probably read that play, and then also reading just like her actual writings and thinking about what, if anything, I could include in the play. So that's a heads up on some of the mystics that I'm going to be studying. And if any of you have questions or want to know more about the process or the play or what I'm thinking, please feel free to ask questions in the comments.